Technical difficulties. Apologize. Slim, I can't unmute your mic. It's not working. Could you maybe go out and come back in? Because yeah, it's not doing it for me. Either way, I will go ahead and continue to start the show. I am Carl Eames. Salim is got a little bit of technical difficulties here, but we'll work that out shortly. But welcome to Science Fliction. Tonight we're featuring Megan is going to be reviewed tonight. We watched it recently. It came out either at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, but it's still in theaters. I watched it a couple days ago. I believe Slim watched it last week. So we're going to give our thoughts and opinions on that movie. And we do have a few other trailers to watch that came out over the last few days. Actually, one of them was today. Let's see. We got Sling back here.
Hey, I'm
All
just
right.
gonna be on my phone. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep, I gotcha.
All right, cool. Sure. What is going on with my internet? I have keep doing that speed test, and it says uh I'm at like 400, 300 bytes per download, and then it tells me I'm having issues. I don't know if it's something to do with nighttime. Maybe that was what I was thinking, like because when I work from home and I never have any issues streaming, and then it's just maybe it's when it's later at night, it just kind of craps out on me. Maybe I'll call Xfinity and I keep having these issues. But anyways, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm just, same old, always tired, these late night things, but
Yeah, that's
it
your
is what it
secret, right,
is.
Carl? You're always tired.
That's pretty much how
That's
it
your
goes.
secret cap. That's your secret cap.
Hmm. I can
uh,
sleep anytime.
nice. I was gonna say, yeah, like, adjacent, well, not adjacent, but related to sci-fi shows. I've been rewatching Smallville. Did you ever watch Smallville?
No, I think maybe I've watched like 10 minutes of Smallville in my life.
Yeah, so you know what's funny? Like I thought I watched, so I know I stopped watching. I think maybe season like one of the last before like the last two seasons. I think I stopped watching, but I thought I watched that show from the first season till that like consistently. But apparently, I'm very wrong because these first three seasons, as I'm binge watching it again, there's a lot of episodes that I do not remember. So yeah, I definitely did not watch this show as much as I thought I did. So it's been definitely interesting. Rewatching this in a sense, or even just watching a lot of these episodes for the first time. Just felt like kind of doing that because like I said, I had never finished the series, and I thought, you know what, I should probably do that. Just kind of see how they ended up finishing. And doing like having him become Superman eventually. And to my understanding of this show, though, in general, they go a lot longer as him being not being Superman than he had originally is, even in the comics. Like he actually don't dons the cape before the everything like that, as far as his secret identity and all that stuff before. In this show that they have it happening much later than what it actually happens. But obviously, the show takes some liberties on certain things and things like that. But
Yeah, that's
yeah,
the point of the show, right? It's supposed to be like, Smallville is more,
sure,
yeah.
but they're not really like. I think some of it became canon after the fact, like DC made it some things canon in a different universe, but it wasn't like completely canon to or completely like exactly how things may have happened in the comics. And obviously, like every show, like it's the same way with the Arrowverse, um, with the Green Lantern and all that stuff. They didn't, um, have it completely canon or related to the what do you call it, to the comics and things like that. They took a lot of liberties, but yeah, it's been fun rewatching those for sure. Um, but yeah,
I do have,
oh, go ahead.
oh, do you have a question? First off, good evening to Saint Omni and Aldo. Thanks for joining us. And Saint Omni had a question regarding, I believe it's regarding Smallville. Since I don't know anything about it, wasn't one of the actresses in XIM? I'm not sure what that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So the one of the main characters, her name on the show is Chloe Sullivan. Her real name is Allison Mack.
Allison Mack.
Ended up being kind of brainwashed by this cult leader. Um, and she started like, I can't remember what exactly like they wore. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was anything like sex trafficking or anything like that because she got a pretty light sentence, but it was just some kind of. I think they did like a lot of fraud. But it was like a cult of some sort. I can't
Oh yeah,
remember.
yeah. Okay,
Um,
I remember hearing about this.
yeah, but and so like even so she tried to recruit a couple of the people on the show, but they kind of left before any of like the Christian Kirk. I think Kirk.
Yeah, I forget her
She
name.
she had joined that group too, but then she left before anything had happened because she just felt odd about it, I guess.
Good for her.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, it's yeah, it was an interesting thing that had broken out about that. But it's been fun rewatching, and they had actually had brought Tom Wheeling back for the Arrowverse when they did like the multiverse crossover thing. They had him because they had brought him back, and then they brought Brandon. They had obviously Brandon Roth was already part of the Arrowverse, but then in another universe they had him as Superman as well. So they had like all these like universes, Supermans. Um, but yeah, it was like I said, it's been fun rewatching that, and it'll be interesting to see how far I go before. I mean, I'm guessing there's at some point I was consistently watching the show, but maybe like the first three seasons I might not have been, and I thought I was. It's been like I think the show started in 2001 when I was in high school, so my memory is not the best, maybe. Uh, But yeah, let's get into our show. We have a pretty good one today. We did both of us. We did watch Megan, the official the movie that came out. I think it was a couple of weeks now, but we're going to be reviewing that. But we do have a couple of other things we're going to kind of go over. They had a Dungeons and Dragons new trailer for that, and then also earlier today, the Shazam trailer released as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, let's get into our show. So the first thing we're getting into is Dungeons and Dragons, and I've always wanted to get into that game, but I just never really have had the opportunity to. Um, a couple of my friends started playing it, and they just decided not to invite me for some reason or another. I don't know why. Uh, and yeah, what do your thought? You've been kind of excited about this movie, right?
I'm excited about Michelle Rodriguez as well as just passing interest in general. Just like, hey, this doesn't look terribly bad. It actually looks kind of good. Yeah, and here we are with this trailer, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can get down with this because I mentioned before I'm not like into the medieval type of fantasy worlds. I'm not into like knights and and dragons and like the Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, especially since I've never read any of those books and things like that. Watched The Hobbit or any of those, but this is like a new franchise, so I can at least start off without having to jump into this massive world and massive movies and stuff like that. So I don't expect there to be a bunch of these movies either, but if there are, at least I can start from the beginning, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting. Like Chris Pine, obviously a pretty big actor that they got for this, so will be interesting. But let's go ahead and play the trailer.
Alrighty.
On your knees.
Okay, chop it off.
Chop it off. Let's do it. Oh, we got him now. You know what? I'm thinking there are probably sharper stairs somewhere else.
We're thieves, but we help the wrong person steal the wrong thing and unleash the greatest evil the world has ever known.
The Red Wizards created an army of the undead.
Sounds lovely.
Quite the opposite.
I know, I was being ironic.
I find irony is a blade that cuts he who wields it most especially.
You're not a lot of fun, are you? How are we gonna pull this off?
We're gonna need a team.
You need school air.
Follow me to the orifice.
Back to school air.
The orifice?
I'll go last.
Let's go. I don't mind that. He missed.
Oh, that's not good. I'm just sick of failing. We can die.
There's worse things than dying. I lost everything that ever mattered to me. And if we quit now, that's for nothing.
I don't want to see you die, which is why I'm going to leave the room.
This ends now.
The bridge is protected by an ancient trap. We must not trigger the mechanism.
I may have triggered the mechanism. So, sorry.
All right, that was Dungeons and Dragons. The second trailer for that. I believe the first time when we watched the trailer, it didn't have a set release date, but it is now at the end of March. So we'll be able to watch that pretty soon. I still think some of the stuff in there was pretty funny. I like didn't even think about how stairs could be sharp in some places and stuff like that. So he's just trying to loosen up his rope there, his tied up rope. But what do you think of that trailer, Salim?
It's fun, you know. It's interesting. Like I feel like they've done a good mix of like fantasy, action, and comedy. It seems like it's interesting. Like Hugh Grant is obviously in this movie. I don't think he's ever done anything like this. He's always in like romantic movies, like romantic comedies
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a
or
while.
dramas. He's never ever. I don't think he's ever done anything like a fantasy like this type of in realm. So it's interesting to see him in this movie. And yeah, I mean, I'm definitely it's right up my alley as far as like the type, the genre, and the type. So even though I don't play the games and know a lot about the characters, or even if they'll be based off of the actual like how much they're gonna take from like the actual game itself. But yeah, it should be fun to watch for sure.
Alrighty, and yeah, we don't, like I said, we're not experts. We don't have a whole lot to say about D&D, but thanks for the insight, Omni. Do appreciate that. Um, So we got our next trailer is like Salim mentioned earlier. The second trailer for Shazam dropped earlier today, and I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know what's in it at all. Hopefully, something good. So let's go ahead and. Do you have anything else you want to say before I play it, Salim, or ready to go?
No, yeah, it was freshly came out today. So I watched it earlier. So it was an interesting trailer. But yeah, let's just go ahead and play it.
Alrighty, let's go.
We are at war. We will annihilate everything. Champions of this realm can do nothing to stop us.
You are very menacing. I just want you to know that.
A lot has changed in the last few years. The wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right, here's the situation.
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
The daughters of Atlas are coming to hunt us.
Children stole the power of the gods. You ripped it from our father's core.
Okay, I feel like maybe I should be writing all this down.
Give us the powers, child.
Your world will not survive this.
You want these powers? Come get them! Hey, Khaleesi!
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
All right.
Started from the bottom, now the whole team here.
We have one job to do. Save the world. Billy!
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
I can't do this. Take my powers back. You gave them to me, so you can take them back, right?
I spent millennia searching for a worthy champion. You know exactly what must be done.
Billy, what are you doing? I have to do this.
We end this now.
Yeah, we do.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now the whole team here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
That was the new trailer for Shazam. I really enjoyed the trailer, but it's interesting. Like, I had thought in the first movie, if I remember, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I thought the wizard dies.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Because I just watched it like a few months ago. I was like, didn't he die in the first one?
Yeah, I thought he died. So maybe I don't know if it's like maybe his ghost. I don't know. That's interesting to see that. And the other thought I have, obviously with this WB Discovery doing so much changes with the DC universe, how much, like, what's going to happen in this? That's my key thought. Like, are they going to, end Shazam as well? Is this the last movie? Is it like, are they going to try to do like something else with it? I don't know. Like, that's the interesting part, because again, the Flash movie is supposed to reset a lot of this stuff, so this timeline at least. So that's something that I thought about as well. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
Yeah, well, I don't know about you and how you felt, but it kind of felt like I watched the whole movie just now.
Probably
one of those trailers that they just kind of put a little too much in there. Overall, though, I mean, I think this movie has to do a whole lot to sell people on watching it. For to be honest, Because even like my mother, like she watched the first Shazam movie and she said she didn't like it at all, and it just didn't work for her. And I can totally see how a lot of people could feel the same way. Which I did admit, when we were talking about Black Adam, that I thought Shazam the movie was pretty solid, but wasn't like something like worth going crazy over because of just the approach, I guess. Maybe it was the kid side of it turning into adult, and that's just how that character works. So don't get me wrong, I understand that, but it doesn't feel like a big spectacle thing. It actually I think Shazam would work better as a TV show, as opposed to a movie, if I had to be honest with you. But that being said, this movie needs to do a lot of work to get people to be invested in it, to actually spend money to go to the theater to watch it. And I don't think it really has that thing that it really needs to be a big box office success. Not to say there's going to be a flop. I don't know how much budget they what the projected sales are going to be for this, the forecast, but I think it needs a lot of work, and I don't think that trailer was good enough to convince people on the fence to go see this movie. And then add on top of all of this stuff changing with the WB with James Gunn and Peter Safran and all of their changes. It makes you like, what's the point of watching this movie when we know he's probably going to get canceled afterward? We know that Superman's not going to fight him. We know that Black Adam is probably not going to fight him, not The Rock at least. So it's going to take a whole lot of convincing. But they've already filmed and
Yeah.
already wrote the movie. Like it's already been in progress before all of those decisions were made. So they can only do so much reshooting between, like, what was it, end of October and March, which the movie's coming out in like a month, so they couldn't have changed that much. So I don't think people are going to be all that interested.
Yeah, DC's kind of shot them, or Warner's kind of shot themselves in the foot, like doing all these. Like, if you have this whole, if they really wanted to reboot everything, they should just scrapped it all. Like, what like you can't announce a reboot in the middle of a couple of movies that are already coming out, that you're gonna change everything. Like, they have Aquaman that's still coming out. Obviously, like the Flash that's still coming out. We've talked about that.
Well, I think they still want to recover some money. Like,
I suppose, but it's
the
I mean, you're still gonna take a major loss in all these movies.
Of course. Well, I think like with like Batgirl thing, the movie hadn't been like, there was no trailer or anything like that, and there was still like they were able to like really just write it off in taxes. Where the movie's finished, people, there was already trailers, people already, you know, um know about it. It has connections to other things, and even if it takes a loss, there's still like a good example, like the Street Fighter movie, the live action Street Fighter movie that came out in the 90s. Terrible movie. I personally still love it because of nostalgia and video games and stuff, but the movie was not reviewed well. It was not done well at all in the theaters. But over the years, again, it came out in the 90s. That movie has been on TV so many times, and you watch it on TNT or USA or whatever, DVD, Blu-rays, pre-releases over and over, that Capcom, the owners of Street Fighter, they actually make money off of this movie that was a terrible movie from way back then that was completely bombed, but they make profits off of it now. It's been 30 years because it keeps getting re-released and so on. So in very least, even if this movie is bad, it's still going to be a movie that's going to be like, 10 years from now, you're going to be watching TNT and there's going to be Shazam 2 on it. They'll still be making some money off of it.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I think, same Omni is saying it takes a lot to get people in the actual theater now. I don't know if that's necessarily that accurate anymore. I think people are kind of passed into Um, I think that like the pandemic stuff. I think it's people are not really thinking about that anymore as much. Um, I feel like if it's a good movie, but I would like look at Avatar. Like that's already top five all time in gross. I think if the movie that's done well and it's been and the marketing has been well for it, it'll do well. It'll do fine. But I think movies like what DC's producing, DC just doesn't have the benefit of doubt anymore from people. Like they've just been so bad that like and they're so like unreliable, like all over the place. I think that's the major problem for them because I like there's movies that are making good money in the box office. It's just DC is tends to not do that well because of the fact like I really do think like I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before, but like Shazam, I think if Shazam, if nobody knew Shazam or not Shazam, sorry, Black Adam, if nobody knew Black Adam was a DC movie, like let's say you wipe that out the memory that it's not a DC movie, I think people would have not paid attention to the critics as much and gone to the theater to watch it more. I think the fact that they know it's a DC movie, they know that they've been stung by DC movies before, then they see the critics' reviews like, critics are saying it's really bad. I don't want to waste my time. Um, like I said, I think that plays into like what DC's kind of inflicted wounds onto themselves, and I think that's why like I said, it'll be interesting to see how this movie does in the box office. It'll probably not. It'll probably do similar to like Black Adam as far as underwhelming. Even though maybe it'll be like a fun movie, if you will, not like a bad movie, anything, and not anything spectacular, maybe, but just a fun movie. And it'll probably still end up just underwhelming as far as the overall sales are concerned. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do tend to agree a little bit more with Omni that like in general, like even like he's saying like The Rock is kind of losing it a little bit right now and maybe specifically for that movie, but even like with like when we were talking about it, I was telling you like I don't think I've ever watched any movie with him as a lead up until Black Adam because none of the movies that he's been in have ever really caught my eye or made me really want to go see them. And then the other DC movies, like Shazam itself, which took me 2-3 years to watch, it's a fun movie, but it's not like super like I really want to go see it. And even this
Yeah, but
movie, I kind of feel the same way.
Shazam also kind of came out in the earlier part of the pandemic. So
Really, wasn't it before?
was it before?
I'm
When did
pretty
it come out?
sure.
I don't know. My memory is bad just because like the pandemic lasted for like 10 years.
There was the before time, and then there's the pandemic time.
Hold on.
But yeah, like
2019. Yeah, it came out in 2019. So it came out right dead middle of the start of the pandemic. Yeah.
maybe
Let's
you're thinking
actually
about
when.
Wonder Woman. Yeah, you're probably thinking about Wonder Woman 84, 1984, something like that. That was 2020, at the end of 2020.
Let
Right?
me see. What date was it exactly when this came out? It didn't say the actual date.
But yeah, so we'll go ahead and start wrapping a bow on the whole DC talk right now, because they don't really have anything else going on
Well, I guess it
until
did come out just before the pandemic.
yeah. What is the next thing? It's is it the Flash? Is that the next DC movie? Or no, after Shazam, right?
Yeah,
Shazam is in March, and then
right.
the Flash is in sometime in the summertime. So
Yeah.
yeah, We don't have a whole lot going on there. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on. Our main topic tonight is Megan. So we're going to go ahead and we've actually never played this trailer on here because we haven't really talked about Megan. And one of the reasons why it kind of slipped through the cracks a bit for us is I didn't even realize it was a sci-fi movie until Salim had brought it up. It was like, yeah, it's about a robot. And I'm like, wait, what? I thought it
Yeah.
was just a horror movie, but technically robot make sci-fi, so therefore it is something we should be talking about.
Right, it's classified as horror sci-fi.
So let's go ahead and play the official trailer for Megan, and then we'll go ahead and give our thoughts.
Katie, you lost your parents. Welcome home. You're my niece. I'm gonna do everything I can to make this place feel like home.
Just wish I could see them again.
I'm not equipped to handle this. I don't even take care of my own plants. I have this project at work. Do you want to see?
Yes.
Ever since I was little, I dreamed of this perfect toy that would protect a kid from ever feeling lonely or sad. This is Megan.
Hi, Megan. I'm Katie. It's nice to meet you, Katie. Do you want to hang out? Okay.
Megan, your goal is to protect Katie from harm, both physical and emotional. Is that a doll? Model 3 generative android. Megan, for short.
I can't believe you made this. I love it.
Wanna hang out, yeah, sounds like fun.
Great job.
It's nice to have a friend.
It's honestly like she's part of the family now.
They could be building emotional connections that are too hard to untangle.
She's the happiest she's been since her parents died. Eat the toppings, Katie.
Research shows if you force a child to eat vegetables, they'll be less likely to choose those foods as adults.
Is that so?
Yes. Experts say...
Megan, turn off.
I thought we were having a conversation.
Does she talk? Make her say something.
Stop! Don't! Megan! You should probably run. Megan, did you push Brandon onto the road? I won't let anything harm you.
It's nice to have a friend.
Megan, turn off.
Recalibrating response model. Megan!
It's nice to have a friend.
What's wrong with you? Don't worry, Katie. I won't let anything harm you. Ever again.
It's nice to have a friend.
So that's the trailer for Megan. Like I said, like Carl said, that's the first time we've even played the trailer, or even, and we obviously have never talked about the movie itself. But yeah, Carl, I'll let you go first. What were your thoughts on the movie after you watched it?
So yeah, I was thinking about this earlier. I don't really remember the last time it had to have been like the 90s probably since I watched Chucky. But
Right.
of course, like that's like it's going to be like the direct comparison anyone would have watching this movie. Is it like Chucky? Is it better? How's it different? And things like that. But yeah, it's been so long since I've seen them, so I don't actually remember if Chucky was like magic or was it like religious stuff or how it became.
Yeah, I never watched Chucky. I don't think
Oh,
I
never?
did.
Okay.
Or maybe I watched like parts of it, but I never really watched the entire movie. Like maybe like the first starting, but like maybe I never finished it or something like that. I don't know. I think maybe it's like voodoo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think it was like voodoo or something like that. But um this movie, I liked it overall. Like I did think it was very like it has stuff in it for sure that is very typical of horror movies, like the dancing in particular. Like, why are you dancing? Like, it makes no sense for you to be dancing, but they do that in the other horror movies too. So there's like a whole lot of the kind of the campy stuff. You're right. He was struck by lightning. Now I'm trying to remember that. Thank you, Saint Omni. Chucky was struck by lightning.
Oh, okay.
That was part of
Maybe
that
that's how his girlfriend was made. Because I'm a Bride of Chucky was
Bride of
kind of
Chucky.
like. But I
Maybe they were
can't.
both. Yeah, and I don't think I've actually watched Bride of Chucky, to be honest. I think I was kind of over it at that point. But maybe I'll come back to it at some point. Anyway, like, but stuff like that, like the dancing, it does, like, Freddy Krueger doing that, or any other like slasher, and they just like have a moment where they just do something weird and like out of left field, just because like they just do that sort of stuff, and that happens here. um but the different approach of is basically, yeah, it's still like Chucky, but I think Chucky was like more murderous. He was like
Mhm.
a serial killer, whereas this is more AI. It's, computer, it's sci-fi, and that she's programmed to protect Katie, and she's just doing it by any means necessary as she's learning how the world works and how Katie works and how people interact with her. She's taking her own liberties, using her evolving AI to figure out what's the best way to protect Katie, which makes sense, and is that's the creepiest part for me of the movie. Is just we've already gone down this road before in other sci-fi movies, and starting to creep into that a little bit in real life with all of the AI taking over everything. And that's the creepiest part of the movie to me. Just seeing something like that is like, yeah, it's kind of get a little close to that right now, and I don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable, but that's the whole point of the movie, really. Visual effects, and again, I don't know how much of the movie is practical or how much of it is CGI. They do a lot of really cool stuff with it in general, like especially in those sequences where she is dancing. It looks so fluid. It's like that has to be an actual person, right? That moving and dancing. Like, I can't imagine CG looking so like look like something, like if it's like computer, sometimes it would look a little too fluid, like where it almost looks like a rubber band, but that looked like a real person that was actually dancing. But then there's other sequences where there's definitely a doll, or it's definitely like a static image of one, you know person or doll or whatever. Maybe it is a person and they change the face to make it look more like a doll, something like that. But yeah, overall, I do think it was visually pretty appealing overall. Not necessarily the best directions in the world, but it's not bad either. Um, but just Megan herself looked pretty good, and yeah, it worked. It worked okay as a story. I was totally fine with it, and
Yeah,
I thought it was a good movie.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I wish it was like maybe 20 minutes longer, and we saw more Megan doing more crazy things. But I liked it. It was fun. Also maybe a little bit of a slow build up in the beginning. But at the same time, they were trying to really show the connection to Megan and Emily, or Katie, sorry. Um, and kind of build up that connection. And then they kind of show why she kind of goes a little more haywire than she would have because of the scene with the dog. That kind of screws with her wirings, if you will. Spoiler, sorry if you've seen this movie. But I mean, we give spoilers all the time, unfortunately. So I think that scene with the dog, what happens to her there, kind of makes her a little bit more uh, crazy instead of just being protective, normally protective of Katie. Um,
They never showed what happened to the dog, right? They only, like, when the owner was looking for her, looking for the
right.
dog
I
in
mean,
the
you
back.
use your
It was her emulating
imagination,
the
kind
voice,
of.
right?
You're
Yeah,
right. You
but like
kind of
I
use
didn't
your
actually.
imagination.
Yeah.
She kills the dog for sure. Probably like buries it somewhere.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I'm with you. Like I'm totally against like the advancement of robots. Like, I'm against it, man. Like you see some of these robots that are like opening doors and they're like doing all these things, and the AI is getting so like advanced. It's like, man, well, come on, let's relax. You know, it's like and like I guess it won't happen in my lifetime where they take over, but it's gonna happen at some point where all these damn androids that end up they're gonna take over. Like,
Do you ever freak out when you're like driving on the highway and you see those trucks or those vans that say Skynet on them?
yeah, man, that's like dystopian stuff, man. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you know those. There's this there were like talks about like I forget what it was. Oh, like even like those things that when like the obviously what is it that the when they do the copying of your face, the tech what's that called again? Like they're doing it with like celebrities. Like there was that one video someone did with Obama. I forget what that tech is
I don't know.
called. But even similar stuff like that, it's like they do like that. The advancement of those type of things is just kind of wild to me, and it's that man, we're getting too deep fake. That's what I'm saying on me, deep fake. I couldn't remember on top of my head. And stuff like that is getting kind of wild to me too, and like the people that are so open to giving up their complete imaging and all that stuff, and then like I don't know. We're getting into like slowly into like Terminator territory.
I think it is. It's like
The
it's definitely
Matrix.
a young people thing because like us old folks, we've seen enough sci-fi stuff to know like this isn't a good thing. We don't want to give all of these companies all of our information and surrender our entire lives and trust everything to this company just so you can have a cool selfie. Like that's not worth it.
Right. I still
You
think it's
know?
wild. I still think it's wild that like you know those the family tree stuff like the ancestry and the what is it called ancestry.com or what
Yeah, yeah.
ancestry.com whatever like
23andMe or
yeah
Ancestry.com. Yeah,
yeah
stuff
like
like that.
people that give their DNA. Did you sending your DNA out to a random company? Like what are you doing? You're crazy.
Mhm.
Like you're just giving your DNA away to a random company? Like, what are you doing? No, no, you can't have my DNA, you friggin' weirdos. Get out of here.
Mhm. And then they'll call you back a month later. Can you send some more?
Yeah,
Okay,
get
sure,
out of
yeah.
here. Like, what are you doing? No. But yeah, it's like I said, getting back to the movie itself, and then they left a cliffhanger, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. Because obviously the way she can kind of control all the other technology. So like their version of Alexa, well, I don't remember what her name was in there, but she kind of connected with their version of Alexa
Mhm.
essentially, and or Siri or whatever you want to call it, Siri or Alexa, and they show her that thing kind of being a little bit more advanced because she probably did something to it, like Megan, that is, or
Mhm.
she transferred her being into Alexa or Siri, and somehow she'll be back for Megan too, maybe. So that
Right.
should be
Yeah.
interesting as well.
Then she'll
Um,
have to build herself a new body, and it'll be made of titanium or something. Well,
titanium.
already. I think it already has titanium, if I remember right. When and they were
Yeah,
explaining how she was like built and stuff. But yeah, she'll maybe be vibranium next time. I don't know.
maybe. I like the one robot that the original robot that she had made too, like where
Mhm.
it's like a large Rock'em Sock'em robot.
Yeah.
Where she had like the gloves and she could like use it to move and things like that. And but Katie used it to fight Megan in the end, and kick her ass. That was fun. That was pretty cool as well. And I guess they kind of shared the tech too in a sense because the
Mhm.
little box, the cube or whatever uh, that was used to create Megan was a was the same one for that robot. But yeah, that like I said, I enjoyed the movie. It was complete. Like originally, I remember when I saw the original trailer for it, I was like, "This is ridiculous. What is this nonsense? Like, what are they doing here?" And then I start seeing the general like feedback from it from a lot of people that I tend to trust. I was like, "Oh, seems like it's good." And then it's like, you know what? It is a sci-fi movie. So then I told you, I was like, "Hey, we should go watch this, and it'll be something fun to talk about." Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
and go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it was definitely something that I had noticed it from trailers, but I never watched the trailer. Like today was the first time I actually watched that trailer, and yeah, I was like, okay, there's an interesting movie. If I was into horror, I'd probably just go ahead and watch it, or watch it with someone. But it's completely went past me that this was actually sci-fi because I didn't think about it because I guess like I said with Chucky was enchanted or whatever, so I didn't think about this one being AI, but that's just like the 2022 version of Chucky is that it's using technology and it makes sense. So but yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Not to say that it was super deep or anything like that. I would have liked like I'm like I guess you can probably watch any horror movie and get mad at whatever happens with the protagonist or whoever's making decisions in it, and so you just kind of get mad at the woman who created Megan and like why aren't you talking to Katie? Like why are like yeah, like when she was when her was I can't remember if it was the therapist or if it was her lab partner pointing out like, hey, um, if Megan's spending all this time with Katie, like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you talking to her? Like, you can't use Megan to replace parents. Like, because you like if you're creating something like Megan to spend time with kids and have fun, it's not so that you don't give kids toys to replace parents. Like, you don't uh try to put that in in your kid's life just so you can go out and do more work or have fun or do anything like that. It should just be a little bit of time. And yeah, at the beginning of the movie, Katie's actual parents were trying to take away that fuzzy thing and say, oh, it's supposed to be 30 minutes a day, yada yada yada. Like it's not supposed to be an all day thing. So when again, I forget the creator of Megan in this movie. She was so career focused that she was just like, oh, Katie's an annoying thing. I have to take care of her. I can't work on my job, my career. I need to, you know, c- get Megan done, and then that way, she could spend time with Megan, and I don't have to worry about being a parent, sort of stuff. Now, stuff like that was like really frustrating to me, and I'm not even a parent.
No, right. No, for sure. That was part of it all. Like kind of the reason she gets attached. They show Katie getting attached to Megan more so than her 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 uh her aunt because of that, because the way she's also detached from that situation. So yeah, like I said, overall definitely recommend watching. Maybe you don't have to go to the theater to watch it, but definitely I think if you want a Saturday night stay in, you're not feeling like you don't want to go anywhere, go ahead and get the movie and check it out.
Which
Any
it is, by the way, you can buy or rent it right now. So it's
Oh,
still
okay,
in theaters. I just watched it a couple days ago, but
I
you can
didn't know that.
actually watch it at home right now. So, like Salim said, I don't think it's something so visually amazing that you need to go to the theaters for. But I also paid like $7 for a movie ticket to go see it. If you
Yeah, I
want to
went to
watch
a
it at
mat.
home,
Right,
if
I
you watch
went
it at
to a
home, it's gonna
matinee
cost you like
show.
$25. So, whatever,
Right, right, right. I think I paid like $8. I went to like a matinee showing, and depending on where you go, you could probably get even as low as $5, depending on the theater. If it's like a matinee show, but yeah, I mean, and I didn't get snacks, so I just went and watched a movie and beelined out. So I did it for a pretty cost effective amount. But yeah, any final thoughts overall on our show today?
No, that's about it, I believe. I don't know what else is going on in the sci-fi world, but we'll figure it all out. We are, what is it, a few weeks out from Ant-Man still, so um we're like 3-4 weeks away from that. So yeah, we got some stuff. What have you been watching? You said you've been just watching Smallville, and that's
Yeah,
about it.
Smallville. That's about it. I haven't felt like watching anything new. Like new in a sense that like brand new stuff. I don't know. I go through my moods
Mhm.
of stuff. If there's like I suppose like if the MCU released something, I'd probably watch that just
Oh,
because it's
speaking of
uh,
the MCU, which is not necessarily movie related, I just saw that they're releasing. It's not out yet, but there's a MCU timeline book coming out. So it's like an official. This is the
all right.
timeline of the MCU in book form. So I don't know if that's up your alley, but it's coming pretty soon.
Right. I have not watched that Saint. I mean, Devs on Hulu. Um, I have not seen that yet. I'm not even sure what it's about. I'll look it up though.
Yeah, I haven't
Um,
heard of that one.
but yeah, that's all for today. Obviously, like as always, appreciate people tuning in and checking us out. Appreciate people's patience with my technical issues. That you have to look at me like this direction instead of just the normal view. Obviously, check out all our shows. Barroom has to offer, covering all the great Chicago sports teams. Great, I say that with quotation marks because they all suck. But but check them out. Bears. I thought I'd say the things that Bears have some giving us some a little bit of hope. We'll see if that hope actually continues into actual about anything good. um, we'll see about that. I'm not like super. I'm excited about the offseason for the Bears and what'll happen, but I'm not like convinced that Ryan Poles will do the right moves. We'll see. And I think this Bears team is probably a lot farther away. I mean, I don't know because they have a lot of things to fill. Like you don't get the first pick by accident. And obviously he made a decision last offseason to not really add to the team um, any real talent to the team. And then obviously he added Claypool, which that trade is still TBA as far as what happens with it because we got to see him at least in one training camp get comfortable with in the offense, get comfortable with Justin, and then we'll see if what he does next season. Once he's healthy and getting to play, and then we can decide if that was a good trade or not. Um, and then, like I said, he decided to just the various things last offseason. Obviously, he traded away a lot of established players, or not a lot, but a decent amount of established players, at least 3 or 4 for picks. So that alone, he depleted the talent. So he wanted to start fresh and do a complete like overhaul of the roster at some point. I don't know if he meant to do it from the beginning of the season. I'm not necessarily sure if that was his plan. But as the season went on, I think he probably decided, okay, let's go for the full rebuild or full scrap it. We'll see. Anyways, not to get too much into the Bears, but yeah, please, like I said, please check out everything the Barroom has to offer. You can obviously catch the Barroom on YouTube under the Barroom Network, and then all your major and minor podcast platforms. But yeah, that's it for us tonight. We will see you guys next time.
All right, have a great evening, everyone.